Okay, we're all in sync now, I think, and okay. Welcome to our meeting. Welcome to this meeting of the Accessibility Advisory Committee for the City of Quinte West. As our name implies, we're an advisory committee, and our duty is to report and advise on all matters that fall within our mandate, and to recommend such actions to council as may be deemed necessary. We are not able to bind or compel council to any recommendation we may discuss or make. Which brings us, is there any disclosure of pecuniary issues tonight? I don't think so. I'll just ask you to bear with me. I'm going to try and keep my eye on the screen tonight because that's where all our movers and seconders will be coming from. So first of all, I hope you have the agenda of the meeting for tonight, and we need an approval of this agenda. I need a motion from Councillor Freeman, a seconder from Councillor Sharp, that the agenda, I guess, be passed. I'm at a loss for words. All in favor? I don't see any opposed. Motion is carried. We'll now move to the approval of the minutes of the meeting for October 24th, 2024. And we need a motion for the approval from
I wasn't there.
Councillor Freeman and a seconder from Councillor Sharp again. All in favor of approval of the minutes? Motion is carried. I don't see any delegations or presentations today. Next, I don't see any public input today. So we'll go right to correspondence, and we have the article about the AODA is toothless, and we need a motion to receive the correspondence. I hope you've had a chance to take a look at it. Moved by Committee Member Kloss and seconded by Councillor Freeman. All those in favor? Motion is carried, and the correspondence is received. Okay, items for committee consideration, and the first one is a staff report for the 2025 meeting schedule from Louise Smith, and I ask Louise to present.
Thank you, Bill. Through you, Mr. Chair, to the committee, the schedule for the 2025 meetings is being reported here. The only change that we've made this year is is for December, because our original meeting date was December 25th. So we've moved that meeting to December 8th, and it'll be a Monday meeting. All other meetings will be per our schedule of the third Thursday of alternate months. So we'll be meeting February, April, June, August, and October.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Is there any way, we don't have enough of the committee maybe to make this decision, but is there any way we can move these meetings to 3 o'clock instead of 4?
Good with me.
Fine with me.
We do have a quorum here tonight, Sally, so if you want to put that motion forward.
If I'm making that motion, then that would work better for a lot of us, and bad weather, you get home at a better time for those that drive. So if that'll work, that's my motion.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Seconded by Committee Member Kloss, that the meetings be moved to 3 o'clock. as opposed to 4. All those in favor?
Well,
The
I thought
motion-
it was time for Louise not to have sent out 100 of them saying 4 o'clock. So that was good timing.
Motion is carried. Pretty well once we get a mover and seconders tonight, but,
Yeah, we're done.
so we will, with the amendment to 3 o'clock, then I guess we need a motion now to accept
To receive the report.
receive the report on the meetings. Need a mover and a seconder again.
As amended,
Moved by Councillor Sharp, seconded by Councillor Freeman, that the, be received, that the agenda for the meetings. All in favor? Motion is carried. Now we move to a staff report for the accessible parking review and go back to Louise.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we have received a number of requests from members of the public for more accessible on-street parking in the Trenton Ward downtown area. Specifically, the concerns have been raised regarding the parking around Scotiabank. Since Scotiabank closed the branch in the Trenton Town Center, most of their customers have, of course, transferred to the Dundas Street branch. And they are finding that there isn't enough accessible parking to their liking. So I have completed a walkthrough of the core and have identified where the existing accessible on-street parking spaces are. And it's in the downtown core. Every financial institution has one parking space within meters of their front doors. There's 4 on Dundas Street. There's 1 on Murphy, which is adjacent to the Scotiabank. There's 1 on Albert Street, adjacent to the Bank of Montreal. There's also 1 on Dundas Street that's adjacent to the Bank of Montreal. And then there's 1 on Front Street, adjacent to the Toronto Dominion. So after reviewing what we have, I identified 2 potential spaces that could be converted to Type B accessible spots. And both spots are on Murphy Street, so the spaces would be in the area of Scotiabank, as well as Service Canada, and other downtown businesses. It would they would also serve Bank of Montreal as well, because it's right there in that triangle. So Type B spaces are standard parking spaces that are primarily intended for people who use canes, crutches, or wheelchairs, but who do not need the extra space for a lift. There is no place in the downtown core that I identified that could accommodate a Type A parking space. Those are within the municipal parking lots, and they can't really be facilitated with on the on-street parking. So Public Works and Environmental Services have reviewed the suggested spots and advised that there may be a challenge with the sidewalk and curbing for the spot identified on the east side of Murphy Street, because there is an existing manhole right there at that sidewalk. But they did advise that it's something that they can look at and see if the curb cut would not impact on the manhole structure. Okay. The other space, they didn't feel that there was any issue with that it could be completed to meet the new standards, because with creating new spaces, we have to ensure that we're able to do the curb cuts, make sure the ramping meets current standards. Where with the existing spaces, until the sidewalk is refurbished, there's no requirement for the curb cuts to be as extensive as what the curb cuts are for new spots. So the estimate provided by Public Works to convert the spaces, the second space was estimated at $5,000. If there is a requirement to affect any changes to the manhole infrastructure, that could drive the cost up to $10,000. But those costs include modifying the sidewalk, modifying and installing new curbing, painting of the accessible paint markers, and installing the required signage. At this time, I'd just like to ask the committee for their input as to which we would move ahead with. Do you want us to try for both? Do you want us to just try for the one that would still give additional accessible parking in the downtown core? So, Karen's.
Councillor Sharp.
Thank you, Chair Smith. I would like us at minimum to do the the one that doesn't have the manhole, the west side of Murphy Street. And that seems to be feasible, close proximity, and as a starter. And maybe when they are doing the work, they could have a look at the other. But I would like to see us do something, given that we received a number of requests, in particularly in this area. My question is, if we proceed, Louise, would this come from the accessibility budget or public works budget? Because it does say it could not be done till 2025, and now we are in 2025. So that's my thought. I mean, to do the one, I think is good, but others may feel differently. Thank you.
Okay, through you, Chair Smith, to Councillor Sharp. Yes, where the funds are going to come from will still be, there will have to be a discussion. There is some funds for accessibility, and it was indicated that we could also see how we can keep the costs down in-house to create it as much as, and cover as much as we can.
Thank you.
Committee Member Kloss.
You're on mute.
Thank you. I'm wondering, was there any input from Scotiabank, just as a curiosity, because it was their move, their consolidation that kind of led to these requests for more accessible sites. So did they indicate they'd be interested in anything?
Good luck.
I know, but it's just worth asking, right? I mean, it's their customer base.
Trying to crowd two full banks, and they were both very busy banks. Putting them into one, there's a lot of unhappy Bank of Nova Scotia customers.
Oh, sure. And how the TD Bank even exists where it is, I don't know, but that's a different. I would take that accessible parking space right out of there with all the traffic problems it causes.
I can just add that Committee Member Kloss must have been reading my mind, because that was the question I was going to ask about funding. So I'll leave it to Louise to talk about that.
So the bank has not offered any sort of funding. They have reiterated that they are getting customer complaints about it, but they have not suggested that there would be anything that they would do for us, because it is a municipal responsibility.
If I can, as Chair, I'd like to ask, like, being a municipal responsibility, Is there a number, like, because if we do the one, are we within our guidelines as opposed to the second one? Which I'm guessing if Bank of Nova Scotia wants that, like, it's their customers, like, and I realize we try to accommodate as many people as possible, but 30,000 as opposed to 5,000 seems like quite a difference.
The city is currently at, we meet the requirements as it currently sits. Anything that we add is bonus spots.
Could we make the motion that we'll go ahead and pay for the one? And if the Bank of Nova Scotia feels they need another one, it's on them.
That could be incorporated.
Good idea.
Will you make that a motion, Councillor Freeman?
You bet.
Oh, seconder? Yeah, I have my choice. Councillor Sharp, I guess. Now I'll call for the vote. This is that we recommend to go ahead with one spot, the one for 5,000, and with a suggestion that the business in question, if they want to contribute funds, then we can look at the other spot. I think I have it. All in favor of the motion?
You bet.
Motion's carried. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we need to receive the report. So I need a motion to receive the report. Moved by Committee Member Kloss, seconded by Councillor Freeman. All in favor of the motion to receive the report. Motion is carried. We'll now move to the next report from Louise regarding the parking request for Quinte Street.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you to the committee. So this request specifically came from the Legion. They would like us to create additional accessible parking for veterans utilizing the on-street parking spaces on Quinte Street rather than those in the Legion's parking lot. They currently have 6 spaces in front of their building. 3 of them are marked as accessible. The other ones are marked for their executive member use. So they're looking for the city to add accessible parking spaces where, in the diagram that I provided, where that's outlined in yellow. Those spots are not accessible parking spots, but they are used frequently for on-street parking for businesses in the area. The spots that they are requesting would be difficult to convert to accessible parking spaces and ensure that there's safety when people are getting out of the vehicles. At that spot there is a sidewalk, but in most cases people would be traveling behind vehicles to get to the Legion. The financial impact on these particular ones, if we look to convert any of those on-street spaces, would be approximately $2,000 for painting and signage. Of course, it will be higher if modifications are required to the sidewalk or any of the curbing in the area.
Any discussion? Councillor Sharp?
Thank you, through Mr. Chair. And Louise, these identified spots would be for all members of the public, right? Not just the Legion?
we would sign them as accessible for all members of the
Just
public, but the Legion has come forward asking us to designate them for
Yeah.
veteran parking.
And, we all know that, the Legion, uses, City Hall parking lot a lot, and there are designated spots going on Quinte Street. With the spots at the Legion, are they identified as veterans parking spots or just accessible parking spots?
The spots on the Legion's private property are just
Right.
accessible parking spots, and they are in their parking lot.
So they haven't identified veterans parking, but they want the on-street city parking to be veterans identified specifically, not just for those or accessibility for anyone.
That was the wording they used. However, when I had a discussion with a representative, I advised that if we do convert anything, it would be an accessible spot and it could be used by anybody. We wouldn't be.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the way it should be.
Yeah, that's the way it should be. And with all due respect, I just, there's a lot of individuals with accessibility concerns. I have to admit, I'm not sure what to do on this one.
I agree.
I would just like to add, after reading the report, as I understand it, there's some spaces on the Legion parking lot that are designated for executive members that could be converted. This is in addition. I'm sort of torn on this myself. I'm a Legion member. In Frankfurt, I attend Trenton for events, but the report does state that there is some spots available that could be for handicap, but they're used for the executive. So I'm sort of torn on this one as well. It's back to you make the cost. I'm generally all for make as many spots as possible, but both of these have led to a discussion.
Through you, Mr. Chair.
As Councillor Sharp mentioned, there's all the parking lot, especially on weekends, etc., around City Hall. I mean, you don't pay there anyway. So I don't like to have the other ones on Quinte Street designated if they aren't necessary there. Feels like they've got a lot of good choices now.
And we have such a need for general parking also in that particular area with Shoppers Drug Mart and the busyness and even when City Hall has events, there's so much overflow.
Mhm.
It's a very, I don't know, was the appropriate thing motion to receive?
Mhm.
But we tabled it.
I know.
Yeah.
Louise has a comment.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Louise has, I believe, an answer or a comment to that.
Okay.
So in the area that is identified on the picture that I provided, there are 5 spaces there. The space that is closest to the Legion parking lot, currently, in the diagram I provided, there's actually a silver SUV in it, parked in it. That spot there could accommodate, or could be marked as, or be an accessible spot because it does have a sidewalk in front of it that would allow people to not have to go out into traffic. But that's the only one of those 4 that would be suitable, in my opinion.
So should we offer up funds so we won't feel guilty?
Yeah.
You made the motion.
Committee member Claus.
What would you like me to move?
That would be good to get it started anyways on whether we're going to receive this or recommend anything, or you make the motion and then we'll see.
Could we receive and table the motion for discussion when we have more members present for a meeting, because right now we have, one resident and 2 counselors, and this could become murkier than it maybe is already to have the counselors making the decision, like I don't want it to bounce on you.
Oh, that's okay.
So could we receive and table? Or are they expecting an answer?
Sure, if you're going to make the motion that we receive and table, and then we can bring it up at the meeting when we have more members. If we have a seconder for that, then we can put the motion.
Okay, so I can make that motion.
Okay, we have a seconder, Councillor Freeman. So the motion is that we table the report and bring it up at a meeting where we have more members present. I know Louise will get the wording right. All those in favor?
You bet.
Motion is carried then, and we will get to talk about it again. So that brings us to new and other business. Anybody from the committee that has any comments or topics of concern, now is the time to bring them up. Councillor Freeman.
Just wanted to say Happy New Year to everybody. And I've quite enjoyed being part of this committee, and thank you for teaching me as I've gone along.
Thank you, and through the chair, and what I have of a committee, I can wish for Happy New Year for everyone as well, and I must add my thanks to Louise for coming and picking me up today, as I had no vehicle, but it's many thanks so I could be here and we could have a quorum. Councillor Sharp, did you have something?
Oh, well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and I also want to wish everyone a happy New Year, and I also want to recognize our IT support, Mr. Swatmill, who's there in the building. I am not there, and wish him well, and thanks for his help and support, and to Louise and the staff. Thank you.
Well, that leaves Committee Member Kloss. Do you have any remarks? Or?
I have so many remarks.
Uh-oh.
No, really, like Councillor Sharp and Councillor Freeman did. I want everybody to have a healthy and happy 2025. I am very privileged, I think, to be able to be at this meeting when, it looked like maybe I wasn't going to be. So I'm happy to be here. And I'm happy to see all of you. And I'll be happy to see the rest of the committee at the next meeting. That's my plan.
Okay, so we can go to adjournment. Need a motion for adjournment. Moved by Councillor Freeman, seconded by Committee Member Kloss, that we adjourn at, it'll be about 4:29. All those in favor? Motion is carried and we are adjourned.
Take care. Thank you.
Nice
Take
to see
care,
you.
everyone.
You too.